and they act in units of 3 and 3 armies. Oh, that was wrong. They act in armies of 3 and 3 units, I should probably say. So I will divide these units into stacks of 3 and 3, and it should be done randomly. So let us do that. If there were units of a different nation present, they will not mix and mingle in this 3-unit stack. And recruits are treated as a separate nation. So enemy recruits are not intermingling with the forces of a nation, because, well, the enemy recruits, they do not have any national symbols, so they will act as a separate nation. Okay, so let's just shake up the units from Savona. So Bremt, Dikat, and when a commander that has 2 units are drawn, I always place the second unit of the same commander in the same stack. There's no reference for this in the rulebook, but I like to do it because of theme, right? They should be together with their commander. And that leaves 2 units here in Savona, like that. And I need to do the same for the units in Genoa. So I'm just mixing up the units in Genoa, taking 3 and 3 units. That will leave us with 4 stacks, because there's a single unit left here that will operate on its own. Okay, these garrisons, they will not move. Okay, and then we just roll, but before we do the roll, we will look at this chart, and it says that for 4 to 5 supply points, which we have 4, the enemy has 4, it will be a +2 on the rolls, and they will spend 2 supply points, so they are down to 2 supplies. And I need to decide first which unit I roll for, of course. So let's just zoom in on the map. I will start here in Savona with the 3 stack and then the 2 stack. So the 3 stack, that's a 10, oh my goodness, +2, that's a 12. French held objective times 2, so they will move towards a French held objective 2 times. Well, what it means is that if they were 2 squares away, they will move once and twice in order to get to the French held objective. So they will attack the city or the objective that has the lowest combat value. So let's see what we have here. We need to do some calculations. 9, yeah, so Nice is the city with the lowest combat value. So they are moving into Nice, attacking me in Nice. Now I will be moving all the forces before I resolve the battle, because more than 1 stack may move into Nice. 2 stack, oops, that's a 6 +2, that's an 8. And it will move towards a French held objective. So all the Padovan forces are moving into and attacking me in Nice. Okay, good thing I upgraded my defenses there. So Liptay, let's roll for the Liptay stack. 3 +2, that's a 5, and they will move to a random region. 2, 4, 6, and 8. That's an 8. So the Liptay stack is actually moving backwards, and they are moving into Mantua. No, this is really a fortress. Rukavina, let's see what they are doing. The stacks with the Rukavina on top here. That's a 6 +2, that's an 8. They would move towards a French held objective, but only once, so they will move into Savona because they are aiming at the weakest objective. Salic, let's see where he is taking his forces. 9 +2, that's 11. They will advance, so they will be moving towards the closest French force into the area with the lowest combat value. They will also be moving into Savona, aiming for Nice. Looks like they're all coming to Nice. The last one, Pitoni, he's also going to move. 7 plus 2, that's a 9. And again, French held objective. So almost all the forces are coming to me. And that's interesting. That's fine also. Let's see how this turns out. Exciting stuff. There is a battle. And I'll put the red side up to show that it was the enemy that engaged in battle. I probably should flip the turn counter so that we know that's the enemy's turn. Okay, the Battle of Nice. So I remove the forces and bring out the battlefield. And I need to roll for the Fogon War again. Now they only have 2 supplies, so there will be no modifications to the roll. They have to have 4 supplies for the modifications. So let's see, let's hope for a roll number 8. That's not good. Let's see, 8, 8, 8. Well, okay. It wasn't too bad. Well, first of all, the I messed it up. Okay, so it's going to be a short battle, only 2 battle turns. That worries me a bit. Now 3 battle turns. That's good. And I need to transfer 2 of my supplies to the enemy. Well, I only have 1 left, so the enemy will get it. Okay, like that. I did that now. And now we do an envelope check, but I don't think we need to worry about that. Neither of the side has 3 more combat value than the other, so we go on. Now we need to determine the battle plan quantities. Well, the French battle plans are given on the game setup. It says that if Napoleon is not present in the battle, and he is not, I will only get 1 battle plan. So I take this number and put it here, and the enemy will get 2 battle plans. It's also on the setup. So for every battle turn, they will have 2 battle plans. I will only have 1. The next thing will be to buy additional French battle plans. If I had supplies, I don't have any supplies left, so if I had, I could pay 2 supplies to get 1 extra battle plan. And then I get to select inside counters, and this is only valid if Napoleon is present, and he is not present, so inside counters are not available for this battle. Inside counters, well, you can think of them as Napoleonic orders, in the sense that they are super orders. Because he is such a great commander, he is able to give specific orders or set up specific solutions for your army that will give you some big effect. Well, then I get to place French forces, and after that we will place the enemy forces. Right, so let's have a look at the battle area. We can only place forces at the beginning of the game, or at the beginning of the battle, in the approach area or in this reserves area. There's a small number here, it says 4, and that means I can only have 4 units in the approach area at any time during the battle. Of my own, 4 of my own and 4 of the enemy. Yeah, in the reserves there are no limits, and at the front there is 6 units. Garrisons and fortifications are static units. They do not move, and fortifications always go in the reserve area. Garrisons go in the approach area. What more is that these units do not count towards the limit because they are static, so this is only for mobile units. So that means that I can place all the rest of my units here in the approach area. I can place the units in either line formation or in column formation. And it has some strategic significance. We'll see that when the order plays out and how that works, but for now I place mine in line formation. So when I place the enemy units, after I place their fortifications, cannons and garrisons, well, I will place 4 enemies in the approach area. If there are cavalry and infantry, they will be in column formation, and the rest go in the reserves. So they are starting the battle like this. Looking back on the turn order, or the battle turn sequence, we now start the battle turns. And first we do an inside activation. This is only valid if you have an inside counter, and we don't. Then we will select and place our battle plans, and do the same for the enemy. And we will resolve the enemy before we resolve our own battle plans. Then we check if we are fleeing the battle or not. And if we are staying put, we will advance the third counter and we will go again. Until we get to the withdrawal box. If we get to the withdrawal box, we need to roll a die and see what happens. Let's start the battle by select and place our battle plans. Well, they're called battle plans, but they can just as easily have been called orders. Any unit that do not get a special order or battle plan can do any of the standard ones that are here. I can always fire, I can always pivot, go into line or column formation, I can always retreat, and I can always march. So let's just briefly look at the battle plans to see what we have to work with. So these are all the French battle plans available. What they first is, of course, the name of the battle plan, and then it tells you what to do. The first is a requirement, and this refers to the activation number or the black number on top of the units. For instance, the charged one can only be attached to cavalries, and they will advance and advance again and then do an attack. Engage, it says that if the unit is in column, you do not have to roll for activation, otherwise you do have to roll for activation. And so forth. And you can see that, for instance, this grape shot here can only be attached to cannon and fortifications, and they will attack with the extra strength. I will take that. Yep, I'm taking this as my battle plan, and I will attach it like this to the fortification, because now I don't have to roll and I am attacking with a +2/+1, so I don't have to roll for activation. And +2/+1 means that this attack is now a 6 with a 1 superscript value. So if I roll a 1, I will inflict 2 hits. So I'm upgrading my cannons a little bit. That was my battle plan, the only one I could take. Now the enemy is going to have 2, so I will randomly draw from the Moomin Cup. But let's have a look at the enemies. Before I do that, I need to find out which enemy will get the 2 battle plan, or which unit, the enemy unit. And they will be given to the units with the highest skill level. Well, there are 3 units with the skill level, so I get to decide then. I will not give any to the cavalry, because I fear cavalry. It's their strongest unit. So this one is for the Decat infantry. And I'm not looking, I am taking this one. Haha, what is it? It is, whoops, it's something called rush. You can also refer to the book. If the force is in column formation, do not roll for activation. It says there, if column, no roll. If the force is a cavalry, advance the force. The French force must make a shock check at -3. Advance the force if the force is not in melee combat. If the force enters a region with a French force, the French force must make a shock at -3. This, I read it as if this is a cavalry, it will advance and then it will advance again, but this is not a cavalry, so it will not do this step, but it will do the rest of the battle plan. So it means that it will advance once, and the enemy has to, and the French ones has to make a shock at a -3. What does that mean? Well, so I have to give an example. If Garnier here is adjacent to the cut and the cut has decided he will advance, they enter the same region. Now, whenever an enemy enters a region with your own forces, or vice versa, of course, if you enter a region with enemy forces, they must make a shock test. And what you do is that you have to roll a die, and you have to score equal to or lesser than the activation number. If you fail, you will have to take 1 hit and retreat. So the consequences may be dire just because they're entering into melee combat. Yeah, and a shock at a -3 will actually say that I have to roll a 3 or lower for Garnier to pass the test. And that is very, very difficult, of course. Okay, the second one is for this one, the line Provera. This one, and this is something called forward. Okay, let's put it on Provera. How can I remember that it is? I'll put it like this. Doesn't matter, just as long as I remember it. Right, that's it. And we are starting the battle. The enemy goes first, and I get to choose which one to activate first. I will first, well, just go from left to right. It doesn't matter too much within the game, I think. Let's see. Bremt will activate first, and he do not have any orders attached, so he will use one of the standard orders for the enemy here. And these orders are based on the distance to the enemy. So they will, if the enemy is more than 2 spaces away, so this is 1 and this is 2, and in this case we are at distance 3, so they will do advance. And it says that if you're in column formation, you do not have to roll, and then you will advance. So that's what they'll do. They will advance, and the same is true for Decat also. He will also advance. And also Dival here will advance. Now these two will activate. And this forward says that if you're in column, you do not have to roll, and he is in column. He will go advance, and if the enemy is 1 space away, it's not, we are 2 spaces, he will go into line formation and attack. So that was his battle plan. And Decat, also the rush says that he don't have to roll, and the infantry will go advance and stay in column. Okay, that wasn't too dramatic. Now I get to retaliate, and my only battle plan is this one for the cannon. I will fire the cannon first. Okay, so let's fire the fortification, and I'm using the grape shot orders. Only cannons and only forts, and I don't have to roll, and I'll attack with a 6 or lower. I will score a hit. So let's hope for a good hit. Yes, that's a 1. That is actually 2 hits. That's fantastic. Ha! I knew it. The French cannons, you can always trust the French cannons. Boom! So they are now firing. And normally you can only fire at units that are adjacent to yourself. In this case, there are no adjacent units, of course, but the cannon can fire all across the battlefield. But it cannot fire at units in melee combat, because you will hit your own, so that's not a good idea. So they are firing, and they will hit the unit that is closest to them and not in melee. So they will hit one of these units here in the front area, and we need to assign the hits at units with the lowest skill level. So this guy, Bremt, he is really in trouble. 1 hit on Bremt. He is reduced. And I can assign another hit as well. Yeah, I just checked the rules, and it seems like poor Bremt has to take both hits. He's still the lowest skill level, so he is eliminated. And when enemy unit is eliminated, we put them in the cup, so there's a chance of redrawing them during the reinforcement step. Okay, nice. Very nice. And still I have more units that I can use. Well, I need to use the standard battle plans. And it's really not very tempting to do anything, because if I advance, they will just attack me in the next round. But now I have a chance to stay put with my units and let the cannon do the work. I could have put my units in the reserve area, but then they cannot attack from the reserve area. So it's a bad position to be in. Yeah. So yeah, I will do nothing with the rest of my units. I will just wait for the Piedmont forces to come to me, I think. Right, we need to move the battle turn counter to 2. Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about that, because if it goes into the withdrawal box, then I need to roll this die, and there's a chance that I will retreat. And that will be devastating for me, because then I will leave my fortifications and garrisons behind. So I don't want to retreat, that's for sure. Well, before that, what we need to do is to make a route check. and you just need to calculate if I have 3 times the combat value of the enemy or vice versa, but this is not true in this case. And I will still keep with my grape shot battle plan for the fortification, and that's all I can do. And the enemy will withdraw, and it will be for the highest skill level. Again, Provera and the cut infantry. I will draw for first Provera, melee, and the other guy, he will get, well, now we see something different. We see this battle plan, which is a little bit different. Well struck, and I guess they have some kind of officer in the battle, because now all enemies will get a +3 to their attack. And that is true for this entire round. And I need to redraw a battle plan for the cut. He will get the melee as well, so they are expecting melee. Well, that's not going to happen. The cut is advancing. The Val here is advancing. This guy is doing the melee. He says if in line formation you don't have to roll, but he's in column, so he will have to roll, and he needs to roll a 6 or lower. He gets a 2, so he will activate. If there are enemies at space 1, he will advance. If it's an infantry, he will attack, and then go in line formation. Well, really strange, so sometimes they do strange stuff. And this guy will also need to roll for activation. He gets a 10, so he do not activate. These battle plans goes away, and the well struck go away as well. Back to the cup. Yeah, this is very interesting. First I will shoot with my cannon, and this cavalry is the target. It's the closest unit that is not in melee. Closest enemy unit, of course, that is not in melee. He is attacking, and he needs to roll a 6 or lower. So let's see. Come on. No. That's a 7. The cannons miss. Would you believe that? Well, I don't think it matters too much, because all of these units will now open fire on this poor guy here. The garrison will open fire, and he will activate. He will always activate. He doesn't have a black number, so he needs to roll a 5 or lower. He rolls a 4, so he scores 1 hit on the cut, and that means that the cavalry is out of action. So now I need to consider what I want to do with the rest of the units. I will wait another run. I need to remove the grape shot, of course, and we need to calculate the combat value. Now I reduced their value dramatically. They have now 13 left. Okay, so they are not rotating. This is the last battle turn, because there will be a withdrawal once the marker goes in the withdrawal box. I will keep with my grape shot. I think it works perfectly. And then I just wait for the enemy to come. Yeah, and I will draw 2 battle plans for Provera and the cut. First for the cut, he gets this one. Oh, there's a close ranks again. There's this battle plan that has a universal effect. Ignore the first hit inflicted on the enemy. Well, it's meant for me, so it means that the enemy is protected. And then the cut is getting a wedge. Interesting. And the other guy is getting aimed. Let's start with Di Vital here. He is 2+ away, so he will advance because he is very open and vulnerable for attacks. Provera, he needs to roll for activation because he is in column. So let's see what he gets. He gets a 2, so he activates. It says infantry attack with a +4, and cavalry attack with a +2. But there's nobody to attack, so that's what he fires into the open field. The cut here will need to test for activation. Here also 2. So he will activate. It says column, advance, and attack +2. And then he will do an attack, and he needs to roll a 7 or lower, and he gets a 3, so that is 1 hit, and if you roll a 2 it will be 2 hits, because +2 means 2 superscripted. So he scores 1 hit, and then if the enemy is in the same or adjacent region, he will go into line formation. So I will take 1 hit. Yeah, I think I can choose. The rules are a bit unclear. I think it's going to be Garnier, because you don't have much of a chance of hitting anything anyway, so let's put him in a reduced state. And this guy is advancing, which is a kind of a stupid battle plan, because he's very close to me now. I would fire with my cannon. Come on! Now I get a 4, at least that's a hit. And that hit is allocated to the unit with the lowest skill value, that's Vital. He's taking a hit. Then I will give the garrison order to fire. And he scores a hit. Oh, of course they have the close ranks, so the Vital do not get this hit from the cannons. So I'll take the close ranks away, but now the garrison, he will inflict a hit, and that is going to be on Vital. The Vital. Anyway, yeah, so he takes a hit. Then I must think about what I want to do. I'm actually trying to activate Garnier now, and I need to roll a 4. I got a 5, so it does not activate. That is too bad. Should I just open fire? I will activate Manier now. I need to roll a 6 or lower. Yeah, he activates. So what do I want to do with him? I was thinking of just firing into here. Oh, he rolls a 2. So that is a hit. And oh, it has to be allocated to Vital because it's the lowest skill value. Then I'm trying to activate Kill Main. He activates and he fires. Does he? Perhaps he will just advance. So with Kill Main I am going to advance actually. I'm not going to shoot, I'm going to advance. And I'm advancing into the French front. Of course next round, but there will be no next round because the battle turn will go into withdrawal. But that will also protect all of his forces from the cannon, so that cannot fire anymore. But that's fine, I'm going into here, and now the unit with the lowest skill value must make a shock test. Because I'm entering an area with the enemy. I mean, you can think of it like these units being in an area and seeing the cavalry just charge down on them. And they need to test their morale, basically. Should they stay and fight, or should they run? And because, well, the rule says that the unit with the lowest skill value must make the shock test. They have the same skill value, so I get to choose, and I will choose Provera. And I will do it because of the simple reason that if a unit is in column formation, he will always fail a shock test. So that means that Provera has failed the test, his counter is flipped, he has to take 1 hit and retreat. Then Macquart is trying to activate. He has a 2, so he also activates, and he will fire on the cut. Fire straight into the melee. That is going on here. Well, that's allowed. A cannon cannot fire into melee, but I believe Macquart can do that. He can fire, so he needs to score. Or should he advance? No, he needs to score a 5 or lower. So let's see. He got a 2. So that's a hit on the Chat. So he is reduced as well. That's great news for Napoleon, because what happens now is a rout check. And now they only have 6 combat points, and I have more than 18. So that means that they are routing. And what is neat about the routing is that when the enemy is routing, the battle turn halts. So we don't advance the counter, which is fantastic because the battle does not end now. They are fleeing and I can try to shoot them while they're fleeing, which is excellent. We will continue with the battle until all the units are off the map or destroyed, or sort of retreated behind the enemy reserve line or being destroyed. So let's do that. They can only choose the retreat action while routed, or the retreat battle plan, but we will be able to select our battle plan. And again, I'm taking the grape shot. I'm going to fire my cannon at the retreating enemy. That's not very nice, but that's what I'm going to do. And they have to do the route or the retreat. They will go column and retreat. They will go column and retreat, like that. And I am firing my cannon. Yeah, let's see if I can hit. I got a 7, so I did not hit. That's too bad. But I am going to activate Kilmaine, or try to activate him. Let's see. He got a 6, so he is activated. And he will do the march order. So the cavalry can advance twice, but he will advance once. He enters the area of another enemy, which has to do a shock test. He is running in column. He will fail, so he is eliminated. He's being sort of charged down from behind. And we continue. The enemy can only choose retreat, and they will do that. And I will fire with my cannon again. I will reselect the grape shot. And now I got a 10, a complete miss. It's not easy to hit an enemy that is running. I will try to activate Kilmaine. I do activate Kilmaine, and he will do the march. For the cavalry, it will advance once and advance again. Same thing happens, shock test, which he will fail, and there is not a single enemy left on the battlefield. Great! That's a fantastic victory. Yeah, whoa, I'm a general, huh? Great, great, great stuff. So let's go back to the main map and see what happens. So the Battle of Nice is over, and the French, they won a crushing victory. I have one reduced unit after that, so that's a crushing victory. And the enemy has now, yeah, they have done all their orders, and we have resolved all the battles. I have held my positions, and I've taken Turin, so I have 2 objectives, meaning we can continue. But okay, let's do the enemy resupply. And I will roll for each enemy held city, and the roll will determine what happens to that city. So first I will roll for Klagenfurt. That is a 3, which means that Klagenfurt is getting 1 reinforcement. So now I go to the reinforcement cup, and there is a lot of units in here now. A lot of units, not only recruits, but also some previously destroyed Piedmont forces. So there is 1 reinforcement in Klagenfurt, and it is, they get a cannon in Klagenfurt. So that is immediately placed on the map. Then we are rolling for Mantua, Fortress Mantua. That's a 5. And again, 1 reinforcement. Oh no, let's see. Throwing blindly. They get a recruit, a cavalry recruit in Mantua. Then it's Genoa, which is enemy held, and they get a 6. Would you believe it? Another reinforcement. They get this guy. It was in Genoa. And the last one is for Milan. 8. That is 3 supply points. Okay, good. So they have 6 supplies. Yeah. A 5 and a 1, that should be 6. That was the first round. We are getting ready to go into
the next round, May 1796. But that is going to be next time. I hope to see you back in my next video, where we follow Napoleon through his 1796 campaign in northern Italy. See you next time.